Okay, this is really neat. I stumbled on this. I had it on my list, but I was going somewhere else and I ran across it, so I'm going to do it first. But this is really neat. I'm going to have to hop this gate, so I'm going to be a little shaky for a minute. Shakier than usual, I guess. Anyway, okay. This part is cool. There's a lot of unmarked graves. This is a black cemetery, black church. Going back to the mid-19th century. First marked grave is 1903. So there's a ton of unmarked graves here. We don't know how many. We don't know. You know, apparently nobody's done any real seismographic or GPR type studies or whatever it would be. So this was a black area, black community, from most of whom worked at the Ehren Pine Company sawmill, and a lot of them lived in company housing. Some worked for the railroad, the railroad, and on farms and that sort of thing. But apparently, this church shut down after the Depression. So sometime, I guess, around the war period. I saw something over there that I'm convinced is where the church was, and I think that by the markers there that is pretty obvious. But we'll go around in a clockwise way and see some of the marked graves. And we're probably walking all over graves right now. I mean, there's probably graves everywhere out here. We don't know what the methodology or procedure would have been for burial, but it's an incredible archaeological and historical site from a standpoint of history. I mean, local history. It's Pasco County, past Land O'Lakes. I don't know if you call this Land O'Lakes. There's no marker here, but these little PVC pipes with caps on them, they may mark where they believe there's a grave. Here's an actual stone, so there's no no guesswork there. You know, obviously somebody's buried there. Here's a pretty well marked one. Infant, daughter, 1903. That's sad. Tough life out here for everybody, but especially for the children. No antibiotics. Had not had an opportunity because of their age to yet develop natural immunities. So everything that came down the pike, they would be susceptible to. Oh, there's some bricks. That's pretty neat. I didn't see that when I first go around out here. That's significant. Here's a marker. Pretty good shape. Not as good as the other one that we saw a moment ago. Pretty good shape nonetheless. Here's some of this PVC. So maybe somebody did do a little bit of archaeological studying, GPR or whatever it would take to find out where the burials actually are. Obviously the records are non-existent, so there wouldn't be much of any way to tell. There's someone named Blocker, died in 1954. Interesting how this part here grew up over that person's name. unless it, well, maybe they tried to repair it with some sort of cement and they did that. I don't know. Kind of weird. Interesting. Here's someone else's headstone, but I suspect that's from that other one over there that we saw. That's missing that part of it. There's another set of PVC pipes. It was an old wooden church, served as a schoolhouse as well. There's another pipe on the other side of that barbed wire fence. Beautiful area. Hot. Hot as all get up and down. I tell you. So I don't see any more graves out this way. We're going to walk over to where I think the church was, and I think it's kind of obvious this is where the church was. Although I've never seen this before where they've laid it out like this. But these are all hewn logs, and there's all sorts of markers that I think indicate that this was once the church. It was a wooden church. I can't remember if they said it burned down or if it just deteriorated over time, but you couldn't, if it deteriorated over time, it would have, there'd be some more of it left. It wouldn't have just all gone, and this is all that's left. So it must have burned down, and maybe after it burned down, they came and put these hewn logs in here to show where it was. So this place was more or less deserted after the Depression, this area. And the congregation dispersed to other places. Pretty amazing, pretty astonishing, exceptional, incredible piece of Florida history right here. Graveyard with unmarked graves, an old church that is gone almost 100 years ago.